my husband had a spare key to another woman's house. I watched him unlock the front door like he belonged there. And then I heard a little girl call him daddy. I should have walked away. I should have confronted him. But I stood outside instead, waiting. Because something about what I had just seen didn't feel like an affair. It felt like a secret. And I was about to discover that some secrets are far more dangerous than lies. And then I stood outside the gate, unable to move. My eyes were fixed on that front door. My heart was beating so hard that I could hear it in my ears. I kept hoping the door would open again. I kept hoping someone would come outside and explain everything. But the house remained silent. Almost a minute passed before I stepped away from the gate. I walked back to my car, opened the driver's door and sat without starting my engine. My hands rested on the steering wheel, but they never stopped shaking. I had so many questions and not even a single answer. If that little girl was really his daughter, why had he hidden her away from me? And if that woman was his wife too, how had he managed to live two different lives for 6 years without me noticing? None of it ever made sense. And then something moved upstairs. The curtain by one of the windows shifted slightly. Someone was behind it watching. I quickly leaned back in my seat until my eyes could only see above the dashboard. I didn't know if they had seen me or not. After a few seconds, the curtain became still again. Whoever had been there disappeared. I looked at the time. I had already missed half my work day. My phone was filled with missed calls from the office, but I ignored them. At that moment, work didn't matter anymore. My marriage was falling apart right in front of me. After about 15 minutes later, the front door opened. The woman walked outside alone. Her long hair was tied back loosely. She carried a small rubbish bag and walked towards the bin near the gate. She looked tired, not happy, not excited, just tired. Before throwing the bag away, she looked carefully up and down the street, and for one terrifying second, her eyes stopped in the direction of my car. I immediately lowered my head and held my breath. When I finally looked up again, she had gone back inside. Another 10 minutes passed. Nothing. The house became quiet again, as though nobody lived there. I knew I couldn't sit there forever. So with one last look at the cream-colored bungalow, I started my engine and drove away. The journey home felt longer than ever. Every traffic light gave me another chance to replay everything I had seen. The little girl climbing onto his lap, the way he smiled at her, the way he fastened her seatbelt, the hug, the voice calling him daddy. Every moment felt heavier than ever before. When I got home, the house felt strangely empty. His coffee mug was still in the sink. The pillow he had thrown at me in the morning was still lying on the bedroom floor. Only a few hours had passed, yet it felt as if I had been away for years. I picked up the pillow and placed it neatly on the bed. As I turned around, my eyes stopped on his wardrobe. I wasn't looking for anything specific. Something inside me simply told me to open it. Everything looked normal at first. His shirts were neatly hanging there. His suits were arranged exactly the way I always kept them. His shoes were lined up underneath. I almost closed the wardrobe when I noticed a small gap between two jackets. It looked like another jacket had been removed recently. I searched more carefully, but nothing. Then I opened the drawer below. Inside were his watches, old receipts, travel documents, and a few small boxes. As I moved them inside, I found a velvet box hidden in the back corner. I recognized it immediately. It was the box that held his wedding ring on the day we got married. So slowly I opened it, but it was empty. I stared at it several seconds. His wedding ring wasn't inside. Of course, it wasn't. He had taken it away before meeting that woman. But why hide the empty box? Why keep it at all? Well, I gently returned everything exactly the way I found them. Just then, I heard the front door open downstairs. My heart almost stopped. He was home, earlier than usual. I quickly closed the drawer, shut the wardrobe, and tried to calm my breathing before walking downstairs. He was standing in the living room with his jacket over his arm. The moment he saw me, he smiled. "There you are," he said. "I've been calling you." I forced myself to smile back. "So have I said. And for a brief moment, his smile faded. "You didn't answer," he said. "And neither did you." The words almost came out, but I swallowed them. I wasn't ready to confront him, not until I knew the whole truth. He stepped closer and gently touched my shoulder. "How was work?" I looked into his eyes. They were the same eyes I had trusted for 6 years. The same eyes that promised they would never lie to me. But suddenly, I couldn't tell whether I was looking at my husband or a complete stranger. Before I could answer, his phone vibrated. He glanced at the screen only for a few seconds, but I noticed everything. The smile disappeared from his face. He quickly turned the phone over so I couldn't see who was calling. "I'll be right back," he said. He walked into the kitchen. A few seconds later, I heard his voice, but it was low and careful, almost a whisper. I couldn't hear every word. And then, one sentence reached my ear. "No, she doesn't know." My entire body went cold. Who was he talking about? Me? Or someone else? I quietly walked towards the kitchen, careful not enough to make sound. Every step felt heavier than the last. I stopped just before the door, close enough to hear the rest of the conversation. And then I heard another voice, a woman's voice. It wasn't the woman from the cafe. It was someone else. And in that moment, I realized I had been asking the wrong questions all along.